Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to TSP TV. We do got an international ration review for you today in today's episode, and it's a very interesting and exciting ration review to be bringing you. One I'm particularly looking forward to, as I've always kind of wanted to try one of these, and it is a Russian military ration, so we're probably going to have to get the translator out at some point on this one, and I am going to be breaking it up into at least 3, possibly 4 parts. We're going to do an unboxing, then I'm going to break it down to breakfast, lunch and dinner. So there is a little bit of, sounds like there might be something broken shaking around, like some dust or maybe a sugar package. Now this ration was kindly donated to me courtesy of Safari Man 1, so I've got to give him a very special thanks out, a special shout out and a thank you for providing me with this, because as I said, this is one of the Mac Daddies of rations by all accounts. Now I have tried a Russian 24-hour ration previously, but it was a marching ration, which was very lightweight, unlike this one, which is, I don't know if you can hear that, quite heavy. I don't know if it says how much it weighs on there, but there's close to 5,000 calories contained within this item, and pretty much it says it's a 24-hour ration, but you could possibly drag this out for a few days if this was the only thing you had to live off of, and there's lots and lots of stuff inside. So I'm going to tear it as carefully as I can, and it does look like, yeah, we have had some kind of spillage, and it looks like it might be some kind of beverage powder, so that is a little bit unfortunate, but never mind. My goodness, yeah, we definitely got something that spilled in there. And as I said, you can kind of hear and see it. That's a little bit of a shame, but never mind. Worse things happen at sea, as they said. And here you go. That's what it looks like out of the box. So it's a box within a kind of packaging container. So straight away we can see that there's stuff on there. Let me just pop you on. Okay, so I've got the translator set up. Hopefully that will be assistance to us. So what we've got first, let me move this to the side, and hopefully there won't be too much damage to these items. So what do we got first? 3 hand infections, so I'm guessing these are hand sanitizer. Yeah, there's something there that leaked. You can see there, it looks like it might be part of the sugar, so we'll toss that and the garbage. Let's see what this is. Rump, scab, dry instant waste, strawberry. That's interesting. So we've got some dry instant strawberry waste. That looks like it's tea or coffee. Black tea. So we've got some tea. Okay, let's put some of this stuff over here. Hand sanitizers. Right, I've got some matches there. They look like they're windproof and a little striker. We've also got a little Esbit stove. We don't need to use a translator for that. Unfortunately, there is some of the whatever it is that leaked. I'm guessing this is going to be some more scum waste. Eek 4. Maybe let's put it on the front. Look. Let's see if that helps. Well, I think that's another drink. It looks very similar to that. So that's the same. And I think we have another one. So we've got 3 of those. We've got some tea. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure. Okie dokie. Now, there's this sugar stuff or whatever leaked is everywhere, unfortunately. That's not a bad thing. So that says natural puree sterilized, natural apple puree. Okay, so that's some apples. What on earth is this? It's squishy. I think this might be cheese. Melted cream, whipped G, left, sterilization, first sterilization. We'll find out. Okay, now we've got a bigger container. What's in this one? Beef stuffed. Okay, so we've got some beef. That should be good. I'm guessing this is sugar. There's the one that leaked. Bastard. Okay, so that was what's causing all this stickiness. We've got some sugar. Let's get rid of the leaked one. That's what is everywhere in this. We've got some more tea. Coffee. You can pretty much figure out that that's coffee without the translator. I'm guessing that's salt or pepper. I'm going to put the sticky one to the side. We have some salt, we have matches, we've got 2 spoons, and there was a knife. There's also a knife, so we've got some cutlery. What looks to be chocolate. What does that say? Okay, exactly the same. I think that might be coffee creamer. Doesn't say, but it's got like a little milk jug on it. It feels a little bit solid. We'll figure that out later maybe. Oh, this should be good. This is the apple butter. Povido apple, sea apple. So that's fun. Don't know what's going on with the translator. I'm guessing that's either salt or pepper again. Got a little bit of paper there. Don't know what that is all about. Water sterilization pills. Unfortunately, a very sticky napkin, which is a shame because there's a lot of sugar on everything. I think that's pretty much stuck together. Oh look, it had a little Russian star thing on there. That's cool, but a shame can't use that. What's this one? Canned meat, green pea and carrot. We've got a whole bunch of crackers. 1, 2, 3. That's the first time I think I've seen broken Russian crackers. These are usually indestructible. I actually got 4 packets of crackers. Can you see everything there? Alright, we've got another big rice with chicken. So there's 3 big entrees there. Goodness gracious. Now, this I've got a feeling is going to be some kind of pate, liver pate, perhaps. Caviar. Oh no, that might be the fruit caviar. That's supposed to be pretty good. This, I'm guessing, is going to be... I mean, it's in a pink thing. That doesn't... Nick. That isn't helping at all. Salty. Let me try again. Can red, salted saline, bacon. Oh, it's got bacon in there. It says bacon. We'll find out, I guess, guys. What else have we got? There's still things in here, folks. Still things in here. paste sterilized canned meat. So that might be pate. Yeah, that is. That's pate. I knew there's usually a pate in there. And what is this? I think that's also pate. So looks like there's two pates there. I'm not actually a fan of pate, so we might not be actually trying those. And lastly, there's a little packet of gum and a hell of a lot of sugar from the broken box. Look, there it is, all the sugar going everywhere over the thrift store studio. The other thing there was the little stove. So a hell of a lot of stuff inside that big old packaging container. That's where it come in there. That is everything that is inside it. Now I am going to try and eat all of this in the course of the next hour or so, and break it down. It's probably going to take a lot longer than an hour because there is an awful lot of food. So I'm going to break this down into separate videos. We will figure out a menu for breakfast and for lunch and for supper, but as you can see, guys, there is a hell of a lot. I mean, you can't even kind of see it all. There we go. Let's adjust the camera for you. That was everything that was inside, with the exception of one napkin that was a little bit wet. So we've got 1 cup of coffee. I thought maybe you'd get more coffee than that, and a lot of other interesting stuff. So join me when we come back for breakfast. Okay guys, so we're back with breakfast. Please excuse the thrift store studio. I did give it a little bit of wipe up and try and remove some of the sugar. Okay, so I'm still having absolutely no idea as to what this pink thing is. I think it's some kind of bacon. I don't know if you can see the picture there. It kind of looks like bacon, and I think it did say pork at some point, but it's coming up coned, canned. Not really helping us at all, but I think there is some pork and bacon, so I figured bacon breakfast. We'll try some of this. The other thing we're going to go with breakfast is I think this is the canned stuffed beef. I don't know if it is stuffed or not, but we're going to go with a big can of beef. We've got some crackers that aren't too beaten up. I actually think there are two kinds. These look as though they might be whole wheat ones. We're going to go with those as our crackers. We've also got some, oh my goodness, we just squished some out. The apple puree that is now on the, you can see a little bit there. So we will have to get rid of that at some point. We've got a little bit of a beverage base. Remember, that's something very funny come up about this, and when we looked at it before. Enhanced with vitamins. So we've got a beverage, I think it's raspberry beverage base. We've got our coffee, and that's it. That's everything for breakfast. As I said, I will have to get rid of that at some point. Okay, so just cleaned up the little bit of leakage that we had of the butter. Now I think that's because I squeezed it too much that we got some out rather than it was compromised. But all that really remains now is to get this out on the tray. Now I do want to open this up for you before I do, if I can, because I want to kind of let you see what is inside it. I don't want to get too much of a mess. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. There's some very interesting smells, but that's what it looks like on the inside. And I was expecting a big chunk of beef for some reason. But oh, definitely some sage and bay coming off of there. Very similar smells to the Latvian. But that's what I wanted to show you, what it looks like before I go and heat that up. So, as I said, all that remains is to get it out on the tray. And there you go. So wow, the smells coming off that are absolutely amazing. That beef's just almost to die for. But it is very kind of soupy. You can kind of see there's chunks of beef in there, but the rest of it is just kind of like a soup. There's the bay leaf that you can smell. Try and get that out if we can. Put that in the little area there. So the other thing I wanted to do is a coffee. The kettle did just boil. Don't know if you can see inside. So there's the coffee. Let me go get the kettle very quickly. And I've already got the beverage going, so I've got a whole. Actually, I did get 3 spoons. There were 3 spoons total, so I can use one to stir up our raspberry beverage. When we finished, I can use it to stir our coffee. I'm not going to lie, I did have a little bit of the apple as I tasted some of the applesauce as I was emptying it out, and it is absolutely delicious. Okay, I think I might even go and throw this in the microwave because there's got a lot of fat on there that looks like it needs to be heated up. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. Perfect. So there it is. That was popping and crackling, and I don't know if you can see just how much fat was in that. As much as I do love my fat, we're going to try and maybe not eat so much. And that does look like a big pile of bacon. And as you can see, oh, I'm not going to drink the fat. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'll put that to the side. So there is breakfast. This, I'm still a little bit curious to this. It's very, very salty. It kind of tastes like gravy. So let's try the broth on its own. And yeah, it does taste like a very, very delicious homemade gravy. And I think there are some little chunks of beef in it. You can see there. Oh my goodness, that beef just melted like a piece of butter. Oh my god, I almost wish there was more beef. So this is the bacon. Very, very fatty piece of bacon there. Let's see what that's like. That in itself is extremely delicious. And even though that fat isn't crisped up, it's absolutely delightful. Just melts in the mouth. There is a lot of liquid with this beef. It's more of a soup than anything else. And I'm almost tempted to crack up some crackers and break in there to soak up that. Let's see what it tastes like first before we do that, because once you've gone there you can never come back. All that needs is a nice plate of mashed potatoes to pour over it. It's a little bit funky with the crackers, but it might be the only kind of way to soak up some of that juice. I mean, you can eat it like a soup, but it is missing something. I mean, the beef is fantastic, the gravy is fantastic. Just like I say, pour that over a big plate of mashed potatoes and that shit would be bomb. The bacon as well is very, very, very enjoyable. Something I've never seen before or tried before in a ration. Actually, real pieces of bacon. Look at that. I wonder what that tastes like with a little bit of the gravy. Almost too much salt. Almost too much salt. That's a very salty gravy, and the bacon is very salty. You know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but look at that, it's been soaking in the gravy and it's still not soft. And there's some more of the beef. Look at that. Can you see that, guys? I'm having difficulties getting that on the spoon. Maybe let's get a cracker and help out. Just melts in the mouth. So I'm not sure how much. I think there's a little bit more beef. Not as much as I anticipated, but the crackers and the gravy is pretty good. So let's try some of this. Wow, that almost tastes fizzy. Unbelievable, but that's very, very nice. Yeah, I mean, there is a raspberry flavour there, but it's very, very subtle. Yeah, that's very, very good. So I guess what I'm going to do is finish up this, and then we'll come back, do the applesauce in the afters. So I'm almost getting to the end. I'm going to pour that pig fat, the bacon fat, in with the remainder. Excuse me there. Well, the last little bit of the gravy there, there is some beef left and a couple of pieces of crackers. I ended up throwing the broken pieces of cracker into the gravy to soak it up. Pig fat and beef gravy. That's absolutely fucking delicious. I could scrape the bottom of the barrel, but we still got 2 more courses to go through. So, you know, if that was the only meal I had, then by all accounts, I would be licking. Hold on, goodness. There's a little tiny piece of beef there, that's why. Let's cleanse our palate with our raspberry drink. It's a little bit strange that it tastes fizzy, but it isn't fizzy. There's the first one of probably many, many burps to come in this 24-hour ration mukbang. And already I feel quite full just off the base of that. And oh my god, there's such a lovely sensation of grease on my lips. It's kind of like that fat has coated them, and maybe that's part of the part of the reason to pull this fat in. Maybe it protects you from the cold, getting chapped lips. But I've got such delicious greasy bacon fat and beef fat lips, and I've got another burp in the pipe. Hang on. Goodness. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be a burp bonanza. So let's get on. I do know what this tastes like. It's very good. I did have a little sneaky taste beforehand. The applesauce. Now it looks a little bit different to the kind of applesauce, a little bit darker than excuse me, applesauce you might be more accustomed to in North America. And I think this is because it's actually oh good, there's like 4 burps already. But it's it tastes more like real apple as opposed to that kind of processy stuff that applesauce sometimes has here. It was very, very good. Very good. I could go crazy with a bucket of this. And the other thing I was going to do is kind of crumble up a cookie. And I almost realised that I got cookies that are already crumbled. I could have done that too. Just to make sure we get it all. You see, but that's I'm trying to get the apple pie type of And that did actually work very well as an apple pie. Wow, yeah, that did. That was the way to go. I should have probably done that from the start, crushed up cookies and put in there. But that was what I was trying to do, create a little bit of the apple pie texture. There's one cookie left. So that was breakfast. Kind of weird thing for breakfast, a bowl of gravy. But the little bits of beef that were in there were absolutely divine. So soft and tender like butter. That bacon was amazing. It almost tasted like bacon used to taste. The bacon that we used to have when I was a kid. Had a nice thick fatty rind on it. Almost wish I could have put that in a little skillet and fried it up. But even so, that was delicious. And the fat, wow, that was good as well. Bacon fat is good. So let's try our Russian coffee, and that will conclude the breakfast segment of this Russian 24-hour ration review stroke mukbang. Maybe I put too much water. It's not the best coffee, it's not the worst instant coffee, but probably the weakest part of this particular meal. And that's not to say it's bad, just the drink was very enjoyable. That gravy, all it needed was mashed potato, and had that been just an individual ration and not part of a 24-hour ration, I would have probably added some of my instant mashed potato. I think that's at least 5 burps just from breakfast. But I would have added some instant mashed potato. That was all that was missing there. And the bacon, all it kind of needed was a nice cracked egg on top of it. But nonetheless, that was an absolute... I mean, it tasted like real food. It wasn't processed. You could see that was real pieces of bacon. There were real pieces of beef in there. Unlike the US military ration I tried the other day that Trip sent me, but that one, the beef stew, although it was filling, it was very kind of processed in like the kind of dollar store canned beef stew, not even like a good beef stew. But it was enjoyable to try that ration. But this, well, I mean, as I said, that tasted like real homemade gravy, real pieces of beef, real pieces of bacon, fantastic applesauce. Crackers weren't exactly anything to write home about. The beverage, very refreshing, very nice. And as I say, the coffee is possibly the weakest part of it. So I do have a couple of mouthfuls of that left. I'm not going to bore you to death until I finish that, because we do got more videos, more stuff to review. So we'll see you at lunch. Hey guys, what's up? So we're back for the lunch segment of this Russian MRE mukbang. Now I actually did have to wait a little bit longer than anticipated before I started this, because surprisingly the breakfast did fill me up considerably. So we have here the chicken and rice. Some reason the phone, I was just getting the translator ready, and the system UI stopped, so it closed itself down and restarted. So I can assure that's chicken and rice. This, I think, is some kind of cottage cheese or cream cheese or something of that descript. We will find out when we got inside. I did look earlier, it had butter or something in it, cream cheese, cottage cheese. We'll find out. We've got another raspberry beverage base. We have some apple butter. This stuff's pretty good. And we have some crackers. Now, we could have added one of the pâtés to this, but I've told you before, I'm not a fan of pâté. And one was liver and one was pork. I think that was the liver and that was the pork pâté. So we probably won't be using those, and probably won't be eating all of the crackers because they are quite filling. I think that's what happened. They expanded in my stomach. So we still have a supper to do. What else are we going to throw in there? And a cup of tea. So we're going to have tea, crackers, chicken and rice, cream cheese and apple butter. And we might even experiment a little something and maybe try and make a little kind of apple cheesecakey thing with some of the crackers. I don't know. We'll make it up as we go. So let's try and open this up before I go and heat it up, and then we will get everything out on the tray. So I just want to show you what this looks like inside. That's what it would look like if you had it straight from the packaging. Again, very similar smell, sage, thyme, maybe even some bay in there. So as I said, guys, that is going to be my lunch, and we'll see you when we get it out on the tray. There you go. Unfortunately, there's been some malfunction with the tea, and I tried to get them both. I tried to get one out of the packet, and somehow the tea bag stuck to the packaging and it ripped open. And it did it on both. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to try the tea, sadly. But we do got, this was the one that had a little bit of sticky residue on the outside. We do got our raspberry beverage to be washing this all down with. So that was a shame about the tea. We're not going to get to try the Russian tea, which is a shame. But anyway, let's get that stirred up. Oh, something we didn't use. Let's get our wet nap out. It doesn't actually feel very wet. I mean, a little bit damp, but white spoon. Keep that in case any spillage. So I don't know whether or not you can see, guys, but look at the amount of fat that is in this rice and chicken. It was piping hot. I don't know. Yeah, you can still see the steam coming off it or not. Some lovely flavors again coming off. Very, very similar. Sage, bay, and what looks like some carrot in there. Chunks of like real chicken and what looks like to be thigh. So nothing processed there. I don't know if you can see that. Is the chicken. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely some thigh meat. I was going to add some salt and pepper, but I don't think I do need it. I don't know what this is exactly. As I said, we think some kind of cottage cheese or something, cream cheese perhaps. So we'll find out if I can get the can open. I'm not sure if that's good or not. Does that look good to you? It doesn't smell good. I'm not sure if that, like, yeah, I'm not entirely certain there. It looks a little bit like that, similar kind of to the funny buttery cheese stuff I had in my 24-hour custom-made ration. That I ended up putting in some mac and cheese, actually some dollar store mac and cheese to use it all up, but I'm not sure if that should look like that at all. Yeah, that feels weird. It almost feels like kind of jello, but this is really good. The chicken and rice almost can't go wrong with chicken and rice. And you can see, look at that, that's a huge piece of chicken. I'm going to eat it all at once. Let's break that down. Very tender, and as I said, this doesn't need any seasoning. Very simple flavors, but very flavorful, very comforting, very Eastern European chicken and rice. And honestly, guys, the fat is what makes this. That's what the flavor is. That kind of sticks it all together and make that stick to the inside of the ribs. So if or not we're going to be able to manage supper today, I don't know. We'll give it a try, but pretty certain this is going to fill me up even more than I was before. Obviously I'm putting more food into me, but 2 meals into this ration, I certainly will be struggling to find more room in my already pretty small belly. So let me just pop you on pause while I finish this up. Okay, so down to pretty much the last morsel of the chicken and rice, and that was absolutely very enjoyable. Wonderful, in fact. The grease certainly made that, and again I got that lovely kind of greasy lip sensation. And the raspberry drink, that's just the same as last time. Okay, so I do got a knife. They did give you a knife as well. That's 3 spoons. Oh my goodness, oh there's still some more. There's a little, try and scrape as much as we can. Alrighty, I'm still not just sure about that being good or not, so before we do try that, let's try this delicious apple butter. Now this packet of crackers was probably the least amount of damaged out of them all. So I'm just gonna, oh my goodness, the chicken grease on my lips. I can't stop licking my lip knowing I've had a really good meal. No, you kind of have that taste on your tongue, that taste on your lips. That's why we're leaving that to the end, because I don't know how good that's going to be. So there is some of the apple. I believe that's apple. Yeah, it is, because it's got a picture of an apple on the front. There was a tiny little burp under the breath there, but it almost looks red. That's why we had. There's another burp. That tastes like I've just had roast chicken dinner. And again, that kind of tastes like the apple butter, rather. If you've grown up in England, Mr. Kipling's apple pie, that's what that tastes like. Very, very enjoyable. And I'm not sure if you can see, but I think these ones are different. They look different. That one doesn't look too badly beaten up, but you can see they kind of look a little bit more yellow, almost like the American MRE crackers, and these that have a kind of brown tinge to them. This is really, really good. Just the apple butter and this weird cheese looking stuff. So you can see it's kind of glistening. It doesn't really smell bad. That might be a good sign. And that was a piece of packaging. What was it? Yeah, what the hell was that? More packaging. That's what it looks like. I'm not sure. Let's get some on a cracker. I don't know why that's got that kind of plastic film on there. So that's what that looks like. I'm not entirely sure at all if that's good or not. That's kind of weird. I mean, as you can see, it does look as though it's a little bit whipped with something, and can't really decide what it tastes like. And I don't even know if that gelatine stuff is good or bad. So let's try it with a little bit of butter, apple butter. So it isn't cream cheese. That's what I thought it was going to be, because what I was going to do is try and like crush down some of the crackers and then mix the apple jelly and the cream cheese together. But let's see what that tastes like. That does kind of work. Not 100% certain if I like this or not. Let's go big or go home. Let's get a whole fucking... like that. And let's put some more apple butter on the top. Like so. Maybe we can spread it. Let's see how we get on with that. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm not necessarily sure if it's good, but it kind of works. It kind of works. I've had worse things. Let's tell you that much. Kind of prefer it to the stuff that was in the personal ration. That kind of had like a blue cheesy taste to it, and that was part of a French military ration, I believe. But that had a more blue cheese taste. This kind of, I'm not sure what it tastes like, to be honest. Let's try some without the butter, the apple butter. See if this is good on its own. Got some apple butter on my thumb. I guess it kind of tastes a little bit like fancy cheese whiz that isn't as strong. It's a mild flavour. I think it does work well with the butter, the apple butter. But I'm not sure if you'd want too much of it, if you know what I mean. So this is a little bit boring, I guess, but let's put one more together with the apple butter. I mean, the fact that I'm going back for more kind of tells me that it's not bad. Like the other stuff, I couldn't really... I had a couple of mouthfuls and it was like very, very... Yeah, I don't ever want to remember tasting this. So there's a nice big dollop of apple jam and the whipped buttery cheese stuff. And like that, that is a way to do it. God, I sort of almost choked on a burp there. So that's pretty much it for the lunch. So we'll just put you on pause until I finish. All that remains is to do the supper. Sorry, that burp came out a little bit out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it to come as I press play. That's the last cracker. I've tried to eat as much of this stuff as I could. I mean, I could open up more crackers, I guess, if I wanted to finish it up. Ooh. Sorry, there was another kind of burp. Yeah, I'm kind of getting used to this. I'm still not sure if I like it or not, but piling it on top. There was another burp. There's about 3, I think, in the last second. But piling it on top of a cracker with some of that delicious apple butter. I'm trying to give you an extreme close-up of it there. You can kind of see that gluten. So it wasn't bad at all. But I'm not too sure if you'd want too much of it. There is a little bit left. I might save it in the fridge. Seeing as all the other crackers are pretty smashed. Uh-oh. Apple jam on the finger. So that was it. Alright. So just some of the raspberry drink to finish. A few crumbs Okay, there's some more burpage for you. Actually, that one didn't quite mix up as well as the other one. Never mind. We can mix that up with the third and final course of this 24-hour Russian ration review. That was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed that. Just a little bit of a disappointment on the tea bag incident, but black tea is black tea, so I'm guessing we're not missing out too much there. That turned out to be more pleasant than I expected. Still not sure if I like it or not, if I'd want to try it again in a hurry, but it certainly worked well with the apple butter and the crackers and the chicken and rice. Thumbs up for me. That was absolutely fantastic, and the grease was what held all that together. So as I said, guys, we'll see you for the next part, which will be supper. Okay, so welcome back, guys. I'm absolutely still stuffed from breakfast and lunch, and we're about to get in and do the final course, which is the supper course of this particular 24-hour Russian military ration review. Now, the only two items that I'm not going to be trying, and I've told you before, is the pate. Just because I cannot stomach it. It will make me yak just to kind of open it up. And I'm possibly not going to eat the other two packets of crackers. I'm going to save them, but they are a little bit beaten up and broken. So other than that, we've pretty much tried everything in this ration. So let's get out what's going to be our final supper course. So for dessert, what am I talking about? So for dessert, we're going to have this tiny little chocolate bar. We've also got what happens to be what I believe vegetable caviar, and I think there's a tip actually, if you kind of turn them up or something when you open them, you don't spill it. Whether or not I'm late on that, I'm not sure if you've got a leakage there. There does look to seem to be some oil or something on the outside of that package, but we'll find out. I'm not sure more. I think you have this cold. We might heat it up. I'll just see how it goes because it is veggies. We're also going to have our beef stew, so I figured veggies, beef stew would be that, and we are going to be washing it down with one of our last raspberry isotonic drinks. Now, as I said, the other items that we're not eating are the two packets of crackers which are beaten up and the pate, and I'm also not going to be using probably the two packets of sugar. One packet was compromised, that's why we had so much leakage and sticky stuff in the ration, and there's the salt and pepper, and reason being everything is perfectly seasoned. So you know what, I was going to try and open this one up, but because this is a little bit crushed, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to. Oh no, we're good. There you go. That's what that looks like on the inside. Looks like there's some peas in there. There's some more fat and shredded carrots. So that will be, I mean, it does look a little bit like cat food and dog food. You kind of get them in these similar little packages. Now this kind of looks like, it smells like squash. And again, there's a lot of oil on there. It kind of looks very much like, it smells like baby food. Whether or not you eat that cold or not, or I don't know. But I am going to heat it up just because it's got some oil and fat in there. And that will be kind of my veggie puree with my beef and what looks like veggies. So all that remains, guys, is to get this out on the tray. And there we go, guys. How does that look? A lot of peas and beef going on there. I just realised I've wow, I just got a little flavour of that. That's good. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you were, I mean, I think you have that cold, but I heated it up and it's kind of gone like a little bit of a thick soup. So the other thing I'm going to do is just put our last and final raspberry beverage base in our water. I don't know if you can see it inside there. It's kind of interesting. It's got different colour crystals. So that's it. And I really enjoyed this actually. It's very nice. Oh goodness, that raspberry smell. It reminds me of it smells like the popping candy. Do you remember the popping candy when you were a kid? The raspberry one. Just put on. They used to call it space dust, I think. Used to put it on your tongue. That's kind of what the smell reminds me of. So let's make sure we give it a good stir this time. Make sure none of those granules stay on the bottom. It still seems like there are some in there. Okie doke. Let's get our wet nap. Although the last one wasn't very wet at all. There we go, finally got into it. And this one's actually bone dry. Not wet, absolutely no moisture at all. Well, anyway, we'll give it a little bit of a wipe off. And the other thing we have is our little chocolate bar. So let's open that up. Looks pretty good, a little bit of blooming, but other than that, I think that's a dark chocolate bar. That's our dessert. So bon appetit. Let's dive in. See how the beef and peas tastes. Tastes like beef and peas. Very simple. Not a lot of flavour at all. Not a lot of seasoning. I mean there is flavour. You can taste the beef, and a little bit of gravy, but very, very simple and comforting. Solid menu. Can you see there? So there are some shredded carrots, some peas, and some beef. Surprised to see there's no potato. I do like meat and potatoes, but nonetheless, we've had a lot of meat in this ration. There was the bacon and the beef for breakfast. We had chicken and rice for lunch. Now we're having beef and peas for supper. And this is kind of an additional veggie. As I said, looks very much like baby food. Yeah, it tastes like a cream of like a vegetable soup now, and I'm actually glad. Very nice, very, very nice indeed. Kind of glad I did warm that up. That has made it into, like I said, a little bit of a soup. I wonder if we put a little bit of this and a little bit of that together, how that works. There's probably some people frowning at me now. What the hell are you doing? Wow, that works really well actually. I'm almost tempted to mix that. You know what, it's all going in the same place. I mean, both together they were delicious on their own individually. Kind of together. I think that can only be even better. Oh, look at that nice big chunk of beef there. I mean, as I say, guys, this is like real food. It's not processed. It's not like the American or Canadian kind of Baxter's Boyardee type menus that you get just repackaged in retort pouches. This is like real proper food. I mean, as you can see there, that's a real chunk of beef. So if or not that was the best thing to do with this, I don't know. As I said, there are probably some people, how dare you, the caviar is meant to be eaten with crackers. But warming that up, that does taste like kind of almost a butternut squash, cream of tomato, or cream, like a cream of butternut squash or cream of tomato-y soup. That same of consistency. And that has actually done wonders. So we've added all that kind of flavour in with the beef and the peas, and it's actually made it very, very delicious. Wow, this really has been, every mouthful has pretty much been an absolute pleasure. Look, and as I said, guys, you can see that meat. That's proper piece of beef. That's not like shitty processed stuff. And it tastes like beef. It actually tastes like beef used to taste like. And believe you me, these Russian boys, if this is what their military are eating, then it certainly pisses all over that little crappy Chinese ration I tried the other day. with the stinky rancid mustard pickle, or pickled mustard, that I can still smell. I mean, it's not here, but I can still smell it. I'm going to finish this up and come back to you when I'm done to try the coffee. Oh, not the coffee, the chocolate. Oh my goodness. I am kind of struggling now. I thought if I took smaller mouthfuls it would help, but it doesn't. I am absolutely fit to burst. It's around an hour 40 minutes since I started this. I took a little gap between courses. I actually needed a little bit of a longer gap between breakfast and lunch than I took between lunch and dinner, and the gap between lunch and dinner was like 10 minutes, literally enough time to go out, have a smoke, wash up the tray and set up the camera again. Between the first two courses, maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and I was absolutely stuffed after the first course, and I can even feel my stomach expanding to the point that I almost feel like I mean, there's a food baby for sure, and there's a chance I might need an epidural when this meal does come to finally exit. There might even be some tearage and some reconstructive surgery required, but oh my goodness, what an absolutely enjoyable, wonderful array of flavors and items to try here. And I'm almost disappointed that I don't like pate, and I don't want to think about pate because that could almost make me throw up just thinking about it, and especially at this late stage of the review when I've only got a couple of mouthfuls left. But the other good thing about this is military food. It is designed to optimize performance. It's very, very nutritionally dense. It's fortified in many ways, so I'm going to be getting a super dosage of my vitamins just from the raspberry beverage. I think each and every one had like at least 100% of your daily vitamin C and such forth. The protein count is off the hook. I've had like bacon, chicken, 2 kinds of beef, the veggies, that cheesy buttery stuff, God knows what that was, crackers. I've had a very, very, very balanced menu, and I've eaten 24 hours worth of food, or enough food for a Russian military personnel member to keep them fed for 24 hours, and I've eaten it in like just under 2 so far, with a couple of items that I really don't like. Oh my god, yeah, there's some regurgitation in the burps now. So even if I did like the pate, I think that would be something that would push me over the edge. Now, I will be saving the pates and saving them for Heidi over at Disabled and Prepping. When I get them to you, darling, I do not know, but I did promise you I would send you a little little package of MRE accessories and ration accessories, along with some pates, because I know you love pates and I know you love rations. So if and when things ever get back to normal, I will work on sending that out to you. So don't hold your breath just yet. But I am a man of my word. I will get that to you as soon as I can. So the raspberry beverage drink, still very, very nice. The other thing I haven't tried also was the chewing gum. I'd almost forgotten about that. It's been there the whole time. And I might just save that as a little souvenir because that's pretty cool. I've never seen grape chewing gum, and if I open it just to try one, then I've got to try them all. So I do like little souvenirs and things like that. So the only thing that needs to remains to be eaten is this little tiny chocolate bar. And you can see inside, and again, I think I've mentioned once before, that looks like some nice Moroccan hashish. Very hard, very crumbly, but that is a very, very, very good quality chocolate, despite the little bit of blooming on the edge there. That is fantastic. Wow. Not sure if this is better than a coffee crisp or not. But this tastes like a gourmet piece of chocolate. What does it say on there? Is that just a little logo? I think so. It is. But yeah, those little kind of yellowy goldy flecks there, that's what's known as blooming. Wow. It's hard to swallow the chocolate. I've got so much food in me. And honestly, you could probably, like one of those, if you had one of those meals a day, this ration would last you for 3 days easily. Right? You could get by on just one of those meals, and then, you know, with the additional stuff like the crackers and the pâtés and the other little snacky things you had to keep you going, you could quite easy, you know, have a packet of crackers for breakfast, and then have your one entree for your main meal a day. If you only had the one 24-hour ration and that's all the food you had on you, then you could stretch it out for 3 days, is what I'm saying. But to be super indulgent and decadent like I have been and eat it all in a very, very short amount of time may not have been the best idea, but I certainly did enjoy this review. Every single mouthful has been a pleasure. Let me just finish this last bit of chocolate. So that's all that's left. 2 packets of busted up crackers and the pâtés that I will be sending to Heidi at Disabled and Prepping. Other than that, as I said, every single mouthful was an enjoyable experience, some wonderful flavours, and this was possibly one of the better rations that I have reviewed, certainly in terms of the component, the quality of the components, and the entrees in particular. Real proper pieces of meat, none of this processed rubbish. Very hearty, very simple, tasted just like home cooking. Nothing there I can complain about. As I said, I think the weakest thing of all was the coffee, and possibly that's because I put a little too much water in it. So all I really have to do is chug this last little bit of raspberry isotonic, and I am done. Although some of you may argue, well, you didn't eat the pâté and the other crackers. Well, no, I didn't, and I told you I don't like pâté. And there's only so many crackers I can really and truly. There isn't any room for pâté or crackers right now. I don't think there's even room for this last little bit of raspberry, but I am going to try to. And yeah, it still didn't fully dissolve. My God, I'm probably going to be burping and probably farting for the rest of the night, I'm not going to lie. But I am full as a thing. This very, very full. I don't think of anything very full now. I've almost got like a food coma coming on all over me. Super amount of nutrients put into my system, and I can already feel my body trying to do its most to start breaking that down. So as I said, guys, I'm gonna have a big fat smoke to digest this meal out on the stoop, do my washing up, and then I am fit to do nothing for the rest of the night except for enjoy my full belly. Kind of feel like Christmas Day in many ways, you know, when you've had that big Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. And I would lift my shirt up and show you my belly. I've probably gained 10 pounds since I started this ration review. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. Again, I got to give a very, very special thanks to my good friend Safari Man 1 for hooking me up with this ration. Again, brother, when this shit is done and dusted, if and when it is over, all this virus malarkey, maybe we'll be in contact contact again, and we'll be getting some more new and different rations to review. But until the next video, guys, thanks for watching. This is a ship video production. This is TSP TV. This was a 24-hour Russian military ration mukbang. See you in the next one, guys. Till then, keep it thrifty.